Great. So this session is all about data visualization. So each and every one of you is working, and you know the importance of data, and more than that, the importance of visualizing and generating the insights, right? Each and every organization is having a huge amount of data. Companies are using Python or machine learning algorithms to understand large data sets, right? So we are working on so many platforms. We are trying to understand, we are storing the data, but it is of no use if we are not able to visualize it properly, right? If we are having 1 lakh records or 10 lakh records or even more than that, how to visualize that? Maybe Excel is not capable of storing that amount of data, or maybe some other tool is important. So we have to understand how much data we are having. Secondly, how we can visualize that. So basically, if you have a data set and you want to, if your manager or someone asks you what is the outcome of it, right? So you will do some your permutation combination, you will do some pivot table if you know on Excel, then you will come to some conclusion. Yes, so we grew by 10% in sales, or the expenses has been reduced by 10% or 15%, as I compare from previous year, right? So this is the insight that you got from the data set. So ultimately, it's all about visualizing the data in a more appropriate manner so the stakeholder and you yourself understand the data even further so that we can make even more important decisions, right? So these are the important things. Like first is learning how to communicate data. So as I told you, data is very important. How you are communicating data effectively by creating compelling reports and using storytelling techniques. Report is like you're just pivoting the data in Excel and preparing one particular Excel table, right? And then storytelling can be through visualizations or interactive dashboards, right? So basically, next 4 5 slides will be slightly theoretical, and then I will move towards practical aspects. So I will go on Excel and then explain you how we can do various techniques. So if I am going slow, if you feel I need to skip anything, you can just tell me, and then I'll go directly towards more important stuff. Right. Second is developing the skills to analyze HR data in Excel and build intuitive dashboards. Right. So basically, everyone is from HR background. This is what I'm assuming, right? So you have to analyze your HR data, the data that you are getting within the organization. You have to see attrition, you have to see so many other metrics. So that is what we call KPIs, right? So now that you have to track that, how you will do that? So you can do through Excel, or you can just create dashboards in Microsoft Power BI. So Power BI is a BI tool, business intelligence tool from Microsoft, right? So there is another tool called Tableau that is also a BI tool, which is not, which is definitely from other company, right? So basically, these are the two top BI tools which are being used by the companies all across the world. So it is really important for us to understand at least one tool. So it can be either Power BI or Tableau, but in this session we will be talking about Power BI. So what actually is data visualization? That I'm telling you that visualization is important. So what is data visualization? So you can see over here, this is a graphical representation of data and information. This is my table. This is also graphical representation. Again, this is also graphical representation, but this is another way. So this is through bar chart, right? So there are various hundreds and thousands of charts, different types of charts that we can use. And it all depends on the situation, what kind of data you want to analyze, what is the situation, right? So for example, if there are two variables, let's say you want to say, you want to see the share of gender, male and female. For that, you might use pie chart, right? Because pie chart will be easier. So you will create a circle and you will see the contribution of male and female. That might be more useful. Maybe bar chart won't give you a better representation. It all depends on the situation. So we have to understand that which chart to use in what situation, right? The goal of data visualization is to make complex data more accessible, understandable, and actionable, right? So we have data. So everyone has data. You will say that I'll create a table and I'm able to understand. But the other person should also be able to understand from the data that you have visualized, right? So it is important to understand from third person's concept, right? So this is what we are talking about. So now, one second. So why do we want data visualizations? So now you know what is data visualization. That is, we are just representing data visually in more appealing manner so that we can generate insights, right? So this is what a data visualization is. So one is better comprehension. That is, we are converting raw data. So whenever you're getting the data, so that is raw data. Whenever you're having data from SAP, from any ERP system, you download your file, right? Or any other HR analytics tool, that is your raw data, because that is what you're downloading directly. Now you will do some slicing and dicing or any analysis on your raw data that will be converted into your data that you're using for visually appealing format, right? So why visual format? This is much easier for human brain to process. So for example, if I see one table of 5 columns and I see one graph, I'll definitely understand from the graph in 1 second what exactly it is saying, right? So it is very easy. It gives me the clear picture of what company is going through. Second is improved decision making, right? So basically, what data is all about, you need to make decisions, right? Stakeholders, all the founders, they want to make decisions, and that too quickly, right? So they need to generate insights from the existing data, historical data, if they want to predict your sales. Like if you have 2 years raw data and the company says, give me the sales for the next 1 year according to your historical data. So we will use predictive models, right? So ultimately, we are working on decision making, and these are all tools for that. Third is communication. It is very powerful. Data visualization is a very powerful communication tool. It helps you to tell what exactly is happening. For example, a company is looking for funding, right? It's a startup and they are looking for funding, but they are unable to explain their existing, successes. Maybe they are doing really good, but they are not able to explain it to their future investors. Then investors won't be, they won't be convinced with their story and they might not invest. So it's very important to communicate in an effective manner. So it is very important to visually give proper diagrams telling this is what I'm getting. I have X number of customers. I'm getting 80% from 10 customers, and this is what my ARR is, right? So if you are properly communicating things through visually appealing manner, that will really give you a better story, right? And then rapid identification of patterns. This is a proven survey through Stanford as well. So if you study a table versus studying graphs, right? It was definitely a proven thing that if you work on a visual graphs, that will give you more insights rather than working on raw data. So everyone does what? Like they just go for raw data, they import in Excel or Power BI or any other tool, and they do slicing and dicing through SQL queries or any other things depending on the situation, and work on particular data set, and they do slicing and dicing and providing the insights, right? So ultimately we have to generate the trends and pattern in the data so that we can predict, and maybe we can work on future algorithms. I hope everything is clear till now.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Per-
Yes,
Perfect.
yes, please.
Perfect. So now we will talk about principles of data visualization. One is clarity. So I won't go with theory and everything. You can just see from the diagram. So this is diagram one. This is diagram two. Which one is better according to you?
Second.
Second one.
Second one.
Second one.
Two.
Anyone who can tell me the reason out of it, like why second one?
It's just clear
More clear and informative. That's
explaining
it.
proper information from it. It's very visually clear.
Yes. So the reason is it is clear because if you see towards diagram one, no one can tell me what exactly this is going to tell, right? So
Yeah,
it's a
so
waste of
Atika,
space. Yes,
uh,
Manish.
there's one point here. So we should compare these two graphs or these two pictures. One, when we are trying to depict the same data using these two pictures, but here the picture two is showing some kind of data, but I'm not sure about picture one, what it is trying to show. It is some kind of abstract pictures and
Hmm.
colors. So,
Right.
so the comparison would have been better if we would have been trying to depict same kind of data using
Okay.
two different formats.
Point taken. You have a valid point, Manish ji. But here I'm just trying to explain the clarity part. Clarity as in,
Yes,
if
please.
we are
Yeah.
using, yes, you have a valid point. But here in the second diagram, this is number of restaurants in each type. So from this chart, I'm easily able to understand what this graph is telling me. So
Yes,
it
of
is telling
course.
me delivery is number one with 4,382. Second is dine out with 3,404. And then following types, right? But this in first diagram, I'm not able to deduce any insight. Not even one insight you can tell me. Only the topic I can see is total cost by size, I guess. So what exactly it is showing me is not clear. So that
Yes,
is
yes.
one. So it should be clear whenever we are using any type of chart, what exactly it is giving me. Second is accuracy. So ultimately, you prepare a beautiful dashboard, but if it is not accurate, it is useless, right? So the first and foremost thing is it's a thumb rule. Data should be accurate, even if you're not making it very, look and feel. It is not that great, but it is accurate. That is more important. We need to create dashboards with accurate data, right? So how I can see this? This is my data set, right? So I have gender, I have age, I have hire date, then status, department. Now, what is my average age by department? Here, average age by department for back office is 36. For IT, it is 22. For R&D, it is 32. For back office, here in this diagram, it is showing me 36. For IT, it is showing me 22. For R&D, it is showing me 39. For R&D, if I check over here, I have record 1, row 1 that I can say, row 3, and row 4. So if you see the average of R&D from this data set, I have 34, 26, and 35. So 34 plus 26, that is 60, plus 35, that is 95. And if I have to calculate the average, I'll divide by 3 for 3 records. So it is 95 by 3, right? Which is definitely not 39. So this is my inaccurate data, right? So in a nutshell, what we have to do is whenever we are doing all these kind of graphical representation, we have to test with our data. So we have to, maybe do a sampling that if I have done this, do my data give accurate results, right? So this is a very important step once you are working on your data. Third one is consistency, right? So if you see the graph one and graph two, here I can see there are so many colors: green, pink, purple, then light yellow, orangish. So many colors are there in one dashboard itself. Uh, right side, you can see there are multiple colors, but these are all contrasting colors. And the dashboard looks neat and good. But this one doesn't look good. This one looks, you know, uh, a very beginner level dashboard. So it is very important to be consistent in your designing and formatting. This means using consistent colors, fonts, and labeling. So if you are confused, like which font I have to use for my text for headers, so for this there is a very good guide on Power Microsoft Power BI documentation. I'll show you that as well. So you can use that font, you can use the color coding. There are various hex colors that you can use according to the professional upfront, right? So that will really impact, because you have to share this with your stakeholders. There are monthly meetings, right? So these kind of reports will be, run on projector. It is important that the reports are really professional. Fourth is simplicity, right? So here I will again say, this is one graph, this is again one chart, there is one more chart, scatter chart. So this is one dashboard, right? Again, this is also one dashboard. This is simple, right one, right? But it is giving me all the result. I'm able to understand this is my gross result, gross sales, the sales price, discounts, units sold. So ultimately, what I'm saying is make it simple, simple report with KPIs. These are my KPI cards, right? At least it is telling me what is my gross sales, what is my sales price. So in your case, what is the attrition and number of employees, month on month, how many employees increase, decrease, their salaries. All those stuff can be come across here depending on the objective of your dashboard, right? So ultimately, we have to work on simplicity. Now we will work on the visuals. So there are multiple visuals, but ultimately, with my past 8 years of experience, there are 7 to 8 mostly used visuals, right? So number one is line chart. So if you're working on linear regression, so if you want to see the dependency of variable, you will use line chart. If you want to see, so you must have worked on y is equal to mx plus c. There is one line. If you see, there are 4 quadrants. This is my quadrant one, right? This is my x-axis. This is my y-axis. So y is equal to mx plus c is my intercept, right? M is my slope. So intercept would be this way, and slope would be the inclination. This is my theta, inclination from my x-axis, right? So this is my y line, right? Right. So this is my c, and slope, this theta is called m. So whenever we are working on the models, we are always working on line charts, right? And then, for example, if you want to work on forecasting, so let's say you are in sales and you want to forecast your sales after 2 years, how it will go. So let's say your sales for till date, your sales is growing like this, or maybe like realistically like this. Now you want to predict the future sales. So currently we are in 23. So you want to predict till 24, right? So it might go like this, might. So you have to work on various models, and then you will come to conclusion that this might be my projection, or this might be my projection, or this might be my projection with some standard deviation error, right? So it depends. So for this, we are working on line charts, right? So this is my line chart. Here it is x-axis. This is my y-axis, and you will have some lines, right? So this will give you the dependency and how y-axis is changing on x-axis, right? So for example, if you want to see month-on-month sales, so you can have months on x-axis and sales on y. So you will see a chart, line chart for sales growth or degrowth, right? Now coming to donut charts and pie charts. These two are similar kind of charts. The only difference is in donut chart, it is a donut shaped chart. So that's why it's called donut. In center, there is a space. I'll show you the significance of this, but that's not really important. Pie chart is a circular statistical chart, and it shows the whole data in parts. As I told you previously, if you want to see the analysis on gender, male or female, or any other analysis, so it will give you quite easily. So each portion of pie chart. So if you have 3 portions, 4 portions, 5 portions, whatever. Every portion represents percentages. On overall, this is my 360-degree, it will give me 100%, right? So 100% is divided into various parts depending on the number of categories. For example, if you are working in FMCG company and there are five categories, right? And you want to see the percentage share of each category. So these are my five categories. Category one is giving me 30%. Category 2 is giving me 20, category 3 is giving me 10. So you will see this as a pie chart. This will really help you to understand the share of the category, right? Similarly with donut chart. Any questions on this?
No, I think you have nicely explained. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So coming to other charts, one is metrics. Then we are coming to slicer charts, regional maps. So what is metrics chart? Metrics chart is simple like a table chart, right? So if you have a table, so it's better to explain this on Excel and Power BI. I explain there. So metrics are shows relation between two or more variables. So if you have employee IDs, right, and then you want to explain the salary, then location, like base location, then what is the headquarter location, then variables, then department. So you can explain, you can create that kind of table. So I'll explain you the difference between table and matrix also. Basically, table is like a simple table where you cannot, expand the columns. In matrix, you can have sub columns. For example, you create a matrix on the basis of employees. So there is a manager, let's say the manager name is Rohit, right? Under him, there are five employees. So in matrix chart, you can have Rohit here, right? And you can have all the attributes of Rohit. And then if you click on Rohit, you will have five more rows of employees under him. And then you can see the details for those five employees. So this is like a metrics chart, right? So I'll show you this in Power BI. It's a very beautiful chart and it's widely used. So this is one of the most used chart, I would say. Then coming to slicer chart. So again, this is a very important chart to filter out things. So basically, this is a simple chart where you're just dragging one field to your visualization panel, and then you are selecting. For example, there is a dashboard that you have created, and you want to see the analysis for the month of June, let's say, right? Then in slicer chart of month, you will just select June. So it's like a checkbox, right? So you're just selecting, and then on the basis of your selection, the data is filtered, right? So slicer chart is simple that you are creating using as a filter chart. So if I read this using slicers, you can create filter or sort your data by clicking on the type of data you want. Unlike filters, the slices are present as a visual on the report and let the user select. So, for example, if you're using as a filter, so you might not see visually the filters. You might filter out at the back end your data. For example, you're having 3 years data and you just want to work on one data, let's say 2023. So at back end, in your data itself, you're just deleting your 2021 and 22 and working on 23. That is one option. Second option is having all the data, but then on the front end, you just select 2023. So, so ultimately 21 and 22 both are eliminated without deleting, right? And you're working on 2023 data. So it's a very important chart, I would say. And then coming to regional map, this is just for representation. I mean, if you are present all across the country or all across the world and you want to see, let's say, sales, how much sales I'm getting from Madhya Pradesh, how much sales I'm getting from Maharashtra, is my north region more strong? Is my south region more strong? So how many employees are there in my Uttar Pradesh or let's say Jammu Kashmir? So you have to see that visually, then you can use regional maps. Otherwise, there is no other significance of that. It's just that it will make your dashboard more visually appealing. It will make nice, if you add Azure maps. and all those tricky maps. You can use vectors to bifurcate the states and districts, and you can work in depth. So there are so many things in regional maps as well. All right, so this bar chart, again, this is widely used. You must have seen in so many reports. So if you read Forbes magazines and all those things, you will see these kind of charts are really common. So this is my bar chart. So if you see the difference between this chart and this chart, so this is my bar chart, and this is horizontally aligned, right? So this is horizontal, right? And this is my vertical chart. This is combo chart because I'm using two, columns here. Otherwise, if I'm using a chart where these are not horizontal, these are vertical, these are stacked chart, or you can say column charts, right? So in bar charts, it is important, as you can see here, I can see the population as well as GDP for four countries, right? For India, this is my population, this is my GDP. I can add the values also to make it more visually useful, right? So this is how you can use bar chart. I'll assist you today. So by this after this session, you will be able to work on all these charts for sure. And this is combo chart. So if you want to compare or you want to develop a relationship between the two variables or measures, so you can use a combo chart, right? So for example, in month of March, you want to compare last year's sales and this year's sales, or you want to compare last year's total number of employees, this year total number of employees for March. So you can use combo chart for each and every month. You can compare how my total number of employees are changing, or what is my total sales I'm giving, or total variables versus sales. So you can do all those kind of matrices over here. Then this is my area chart. This is not that widely used, but it's good to know. Basically, area chart, it is based on line chart. So as I told you previously, my line chart is like this. If I have created a line chart, it would have been like this. Area chart will just highlight the area below that line. So if I am adding two lines, so here there are two lines, right? So second line is giving me the area with other color, and this area from different color. So it's all about representing data in a different manner. So it all depends on the situation. Now coming to the last combination, this is my scatter plots. So as you can see, this is my scatter plot. You are using multiple colors to depict a different category, right? So scatter plots are used to plot data points on a horizontal and a vertical axis in attempt to show how much one variable is affected by another. So if you want to see relationship, as I told you previously also, for example, if I have a, if I want to do experiment on, let's say, uh, a material. So if I heat a material, there are two materials, material A and material B. If I heat it to temperature 20-degree and then 50-degree, so how the life cycle, life strength. So for example, batteries. We use batteries, right? So batteries are lithium batteries. These are all created by giving them intensive heat so that they can be used. So the ultimately, if you're heating them, how much to heat so that that particular material is useful for the commercial use, right? You can use that kind of relationship using scatter plots. So this is one of the representation. So each row in data table is represented by a marker whose position depends on its values in column set on x and y axis. So ultimately, this is what it's saying is there is one table. You have 10 rows, 1 till 10, right? So each row is represented by this marker. So if there are 100 dots, so there are 100 rows in the data set. So this is what it is saying, right? And now if we come to funnel charts, it is a type of chart which is used to visualize the data that flows from one phase to another. right? So it is like a flow chart. So if you have worked on Maslow's hierarchy and all those hierarchy part, so you can use funnel charts in this. If you want to work on B2B SaaS, for example, you say 100 are the number of calls I did, the leads, and then out of 100, 50 are interested in your business. So that will be the next phase. Out of 50, 10 are ready to, take your software, right? And then out of 10, one actually purchases. So it's like a funnel, right? So you can use the funnel chart for those kind of matrices. So if you work on B2B sales, if you want to prepare that kind of funnel, this is useful, right? And then finally, a gauge chart. It is also called speedometer or a dial chart because of the shape. So ultimately, this is really useful if you're working on target versus achievement. So let's say your manager says that my target is 100 for this month, right? So you will create this God chart, right? This will go from 0 to 100. The filled part, this will show your progress. So let's say till now you have completed, let's say 50. So this will show till this line. Let's say now after 10 days you complete 75. So this color will be filled till 75%, right? So this is really useful metric, or you would say visual, to show you how much is the progress, right? So ultimately this is widely used for target versus achievement analysis. Basically, I'm talking from FMCG perspective. Any questions?
Or no, super.
All right. So coming to HR analytics overview. So ultimately, analytics is really important, be it HR, be it sales, be it finance, any department. Analytics is really important for you to know and learn. So if you are, for example, these days, even CA, they learn analytics, they learn technology, because there was a time then when they used to earn a lot from ITR, right? So they used to file ITR for other people and they used to earn 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. But now there are softwares. So now I don't go to CA. I just go online. I submit my details and everything is done in Ziffy. Like I just need to pay 500 or 1,000 and my ITR is done, right? It's as simple. So now it is very important for each and every one of us to, learn technology. So it's with you as well. You are in HR, you are experts in HR, but analytics is really important in recruitment, in retention. It is important in performance management. It is important in employee engagement, diversity and inclusion, learning and development, compensation and benefits. There are so many functions under HR, right? So what we are saying is in recruitment and retention, we can identify the most effective recruitment channels and methods, right? So let's say you recruit n number of people this season, then you recruit x number of people next season. You analyze, you have your data with you, you analyze which kind of campaign is successful, what kind of tools you should provide to your employees, what needs to be done so that the recruitment or retention is more effective, right? You don't want your good employees to go away, right? So what are the important things? Getting feedback from your employees, keeping track of it, having a dashboard. You don't need to, write somewhere and just go back, oh, where did I write things? It should always be in Excel tools, or there are various tools, HR tools. I'm sure you must be aware of it, that you can refer to all the time so that you can, keep good employees with you in your organization. Similarly, with each and every function, be it performance management. So it can be used to measure and track employee performance, identify areas of improvement. I remember when I was working in Relaxo, somewhere around 6 years back, right? So I used to get a tracker sheet from HR, right? They used to give me a tracker where I am, submitting all the things which I used to do. and then they used to evaluate whatever is my KPI according to that, if I am working or not, right? So in that perspective, they will understand if I am really working hard, my performance is good or not, and whatever is provided to me, the learning material or anything, is it up to the mark? Is it updated? Is it what it is needed, or something else is also needed, right? So it is really important to work on these kind of mechanisms. So these are the 7 commonly used KPIs used in HR. So again, I'm not a HR expert, so this is what I have understood from Google, right? So let me know if you feel some any other KPI is more used, or you would like to eliminate any KPI. I'll also get to know this. So one is employee turnover rate, right? This measures the rate at which employees are leaving the organization. Higher turnover rates can indicate problems with employee engagement. So this is what we don't want. We want low turnover rates. Second is time to fill. This measures the amount of time it takes to fill open positions within the organization. So today you open a job opportunity, how much time it takes to fill it, right? Employee engagement score. This measures the level of engagement and satisfaction among employees using surveys or feedback. So you can have the feedback mechanism. So I feel it is still important. 6 years back, also in Relaxo, I used to get a feedback. I used to fill the surveys. Today, also in big organization in Australia. So I was working with EY last week. So they also work on getting surveys and getting feedbacks. So it's really important to engage with your employees and get to know on a day-to-day basis what exactly, if they are facing any challenge, and how you can improve on that. Then diversity and inclusion metrics. I'm sure you know. Anything you would like to add, any one of you?
Absence hours or shrinkage, we can say.
Come again, shrink,
Shrinkage,
shrinkage.
total, yes, shrinkage percentage.
So what do we mean by shrinkage percentage?
Shrinkage is something that you are scheduled for some to do something, but you are not available to do that. So
Okay.
you are on unscheduled leaves and on all something absenteeism that we can say.
Okay, perfect. Great point.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Any other KPI who like anyone who would like to add? So you have told shrinkage, right? SHR,
Yes.
shrinkage. It's not easy to write through the mouse. Anyway, yep. Anyone else? So I believe these are the commonly used KPIs in HR.
Yes.
All right. All right. So great. Let's go ahead. All right, so this is the most important part of this session. Now we are talking about Microsoft Excel exercise. So we will be working on pivot tables, pivot charts, and then we will be talking about how to create dashboards on it, right? So basically, pivot table, it is a summary table. So you have a raw data, then you pivot that, right? So basically, name by pivot is also like you pivot your data to more useful data that enables you to slice and dice and generate some insights. So, like everyone of you have worked on pivot tables before?
Yes, we have.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
we have.
Great. So I'll just go ahead, and then if you have any doubts related to pivot tables or pivot charts, then let me know. All right. So if you guys want to work together, so you have this Excel sheet, right, with you, data set.
Yep.
Yes, we
So if
have.
you want to work side by side, you are open to do that. You. So this is the Excel, right? Currently, you can see there are 5 data sets, right? So basically, these are 5 worksheets. So in Excel, we call these as worksheet. If I click on here, yep. So if I click on this plus sign, right, you can see on the bottom side, if I click here, this is my new worksheet, right? I can have thousands of new worksheets, right? So ultimately, this is my Excel, right? This is my main area where I'm working on calculations. For example, you want to calculate 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2. So you'll say this is equal to sum. Sum is a function which will, calculate, which will add the numbers in that range. So I'll just drag and add these two, and it will give me 3, right? So this is the basic of Excel. Like if you have to sum, if you have to do subtraction, if you have to do multiplication, it can be used as a calculator basically,
Yep.
right? So this is my cell, right? So whatever I'm highlighting right now, these are all cells, and each cell has an address. So currently the highlighted one, its address is D. D is my column, right?
Like,
And 5 is my row. So this is my D5. So this is my D5, right? So it is very important to understand this concept. I have seen so many people who are working on Excel from 5 years. They know Excel very well, but this concept they are not aware of, right? So basically, this is my D5. You can see over here as well, right? So if you just click here, you will see whatever is there. So currently, this data is being shown from this data set 1. So I have defined this data, right? So this data is my data, which is coming over here. So if you define anything else, it will be coming in this list, right? Ultimately, what I'm trying to explain is this cell, it is having value 3, but my address is A3, right? So we have to understand this. I'll explain you what is the significance of address later on in upcoming calculations, right? So let me explain you the layout of Excel. So currently we are working on home tab. Then if we click on insert, this is where we are having all the kind of things where we are inserting. So basically it helps you to explain insert. And if you want to add any pivot table on your existing table, you can click here. If you want some recommendations from Excel, you can click here, but generally this is not used and you should not use this. And if you want to create a table, or if you want to convert any, uh, for example, this is my column, right? So I want to convert this in table. I'll click here, right? Now it is asking me where is the data for your table. It is coming from A1 to A3. This is where I was explaining the address. So A1, right? So this is my address A1, then colon, right? Sorry. Yeah, colon, and then there is A3. A3 means this one, right? So this is my address. This is showing me that from A1 till A3, everything will be my table. And if you see this dollar sign means that you're fixing that cell. For example, if I remove this, if I remove this, still it will be fine right now, but later on I'll explain you why this is not useful. So if I click OK, this is my table created, right? Now if I click on Control Z, so now it is removed. If I go again on insert, click on table, here there is one more option of my table has headers, right? So if your table has headers, then you have to select this so that they can identify your first record as your header. And then you have to click here, and you currently you don't need to click because you don't have headers here, right? So for example, if I insert here, so I'll just, if you need to insert any record above here, you just right click and then click on insert. Or there is another shortcut key, Control Shift and plus, right? Then you will have this pop-up box. If you want to insert entire row or entire column, or if you want to shift cell right or down. So I want to insert entire row, click OK. Now, this is my, let's say, employee ID, right? Now, I want to create a table of this. So I'll just click here. Now, this has already shown that it has already been enabled. My table has headers. If it was disabled like this, you have to click here because now you have header in your table, right? So you will click OK. Now your table is prepared, right? Now this table name is table number 5. Now you can give this table name as employee details, for example, right? So whenever you go outside this as well, and if you want to refer, let's say employee details, see, now you can see this employee details is coming over here, right? Now, if you want to refer this without mentioning the table, it is not possible. Then you have to refer it again and again. Uh, this till now, is it clear?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now that basic understanding is there. Let's go to data set. So this is where we have to work today, right? Currently, we have how many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 columns here, and number of records are 160. So we have 160 records total, right? Do you know how many records Excel can take? Any one of you?
No idea.
All right. So
10
if
lakhs,
I come again,
up to 10 lakhs.
oh yeah. So who was it? Manish ji?
Yes.
Perfect. Yes. So Excel can take up to 10 lakh records, not more than that. If I just go there, this is what it is. So I can see
10 lakh
here it
40.
is, yes, 10 lakh 48,000, but in general, it will take till 10 lakhs. You will add till 10 lakhs, your Excel might crash. So you
Yeah.
better not try that. So basically, what I'm trying to explain is Excel is good for a small data. If you have data set for, let's say, 1 lakh records, less than that is even better. If you have 5 lakh records, then Excel is fine. But if you have more than that, then you have to work on Power BI or any other tool relevant to that, right? So I think in your case, Excel will be sufficient and Power BI will be even better. So depending on the time that you have plus the requirements, I would suggest if you can learn Power BI, that will be wonderful for the long term as well. So now coming back to Excel, my first column is gender, then we have age, hire date, status, department, salary, bonus, overtime, total expense, rating, promotion, eligible, review status. So we have this HR data with us. So what we can do is, like, from this data, what kind of insights can we generate? It is very important to understand the objective. First of all, we have to define the objective, that what is the objective that I have to, come over it. Like maybe I can say मेरा objective ये है that these are my departments, and department wise, what is my average salary, or department wise, how many employees are there, or department wise, how much overtime is there. So basically R&D, for example, R&D, if I select, what is my total expense, right? Maybe if you want to review, what is my review status? So maybe this data set is not huge, or we don't have so many fields to analyze more. But I'll explain you a gist so that you can work on any kind of data set later on, right? And then one more important thing I would like to explain is these columns, every column has a data type, right? So if I say this column, this is having a data type of general. So in general, like if we don't have anything, it will be denoted as general, right? If I click on arrow, this will give me the options, like it can be general, which is no specific format. Now, if you have employee ID, for example, employee ID can, like for example, in your case, employee ID is only numbers, then we'll definitely go for number. But in many organizations, it will be alphanumeric, right? So it all depends on the organization. So if it is alphanumeric, you can go with general. If it is just like all the employee IDs are just numbers, then you can go for number, right? Similarly for date, so hire date. So here it is general. So basically, if you would like to do further calculations, then this won't help you. So in my opinion, if you're having any kind of data, you need to convert this to any kind of short data or long date or short date, depending on your interest. So if I click here, right now my data type has changed to date, and it is giving me the dates over here. If I open it, this is giving me year wise. If I expand 2018, in 2018 January and November are hired. In January on 19th there was hiring, right? So this is one option. If I control Z, go back to the default version, this is how it was. If I click here, right click and click on format cells, from here also I can do this. Go to date and you can select any type. For example, you want to have this kind of format. You want date and then you want complete month name and then complete year. Then you can select this. Or if you want your year to come first, then month, then date, you can select this one. If you want day also to come here, so you can select this, right? Whatever, I mean, whatever you would like, you can add this. For example, I want day also, right? I'll select this and click OK. So now you will have day, then date, month, and year, right? So this is how you're changing the data type, and this will be really helpful when you're working on the calculations, right? Similarly, working on anything, salary. Salary can be in decimal also in many cases. So here, doing number is fine. You can do currency as well. So if I click on currency, so it will automatically give me the rupee symbol. If I do Control Z, yep. So if I go accounting, this is showing me salary, so I can use this as well, right? This is giving me up to 2 decimal points, right? You can see there are 2 decimals. If you want this to increase to 3 decimals, you can click here, right? In number tab, there are two ways. So if you want to increase decimal, you go here. If you want to decrease decimal, you go here. So if you want only 1 decimal, so I'll just click here and one more time. So everything will be in 1 decimal. Sometimes here it might not be relevant, but sometimes the numbers are really huge. After decimal, there are so many numbers, right? You, for example, here it is only till 1 decimal. For example, if I want to have 2 decimals, I'll just click here. Okay, this is in general, so I have to change it to number, let's say. Now it is automatically in 2 decimal, right? So it is up to you how you use this, but it is very important to know the benefits of these features so that whenever the requirement is there, you can work on these things. Any questions so far?
No.
No.
All right. So one more interesting part I would like to explain here. One question, any one of you who can give me the answer in this table. Department is equal to HR and bonus is greater than 10,000. So if I want to have a column, I want a output where my department is HR and bonus given to that person is more than 10,000. So I have this bonus column, which is coming from 1597. This is minimum. Maximum is going till 14,849. So anyone of you can tell me, if my department is HR, for example, my first, this is R&D. So ultimately this is no. This is again no. So if I select HR here, right, and bonus, Okay, so this is 9,100. So this is again no, because the bonus is less than 10,000. HR department, but bonus is more than 10,000. So this is my yes, right? So one option is I'll do manually for thousands of records. That is one option, right? Second option is doing automation. So I am sure everyone is convinced that automation is better. So any one of you who can give me what we can do here so that we get that kind of desired output,
We can put a if formula. Right.
right?
Condition
So
formula.
basically, we can just put a filter, one filter in the department. We can filter out HR and another filter on the bonus, and we can see the number filter on the bonus, and we can. So this is the first step that we just
Okay,
filter out HR
okay,
and
this is one
another
filter, then
bonus, another number filters, and we can see greater than or equal to 10,000. Acha, it's
what,
greater than just
so
10,000.
anyway, yeah, so you are saying this,
So,
and
so
all
these are
these
the
are
records.
my desired
Yeah,
output.
yeah,
So what
all
will I
these
do?
are, or additionally, we can just, as someone said, that we can do a conditional formula here also, but that's the most simple step, just to put
Yeah,
two
so you're saying
filters on
this,
one.
like once I create yes and then drag for all other,
Yes,
right? So
then we
this
can
is
just,
done.
yeah,
And
then we
for
can put
others,
another filter and we
for
can just,
blanks, these are all no for sure.
yeah,
This is what you're saying.
yeah.
Yep.
So
So
this
this
is
is
the
one valid option.
simplest. Yeah.
But I'll tell you when this will not work. But this is valid. It's not wrong. Second option, which everyone is saying, is if function. So first of all, this option, first option is if I filter here. So the shortcut key for this is Control Shift and L. So this is how I am filtering. I select here Control Shift and L. So I am getting this filter. Otherwise, you go over here and you click here filter, right? So this is how you can go here, click filter. So I am filtering the table. Now my first condition is HR. So I am selecting HR, right? Now second condition is bonus should be greater than 10,000. So I am going on number filters. Number filters, if you're not able to understand which should be selected, so click on custom filter. Now from here, my condition is greater than 10,000. So I'll just select is greater than 10,000, right? And now if you have another condition, you can also have another condition. Let's say you want to say between 10,000 and 15,000. So you'll say greater than 10,000 and less than 15,000, right? So once you do this and click OK, so now you have that kind of filtering done for all these records. My answer is yes, right? So this is one option. But this option will not work easily if your data is really huge. Huge as in you have 5 lakh records, 10 lakh records, your data
Yes.
is really huge. Then it will be very tough to filter, unfilter all the time, right? So in that way, one option is working on conditional filtering, that is conditional statements. In that case, as most of you told, using if function, right? So I'll just try to explain you what if function is. So every function, so whenever I have to add a formula on Excel, I have to start with equal to sign, right? So I started with equal to sign. Now you have to remember that if you have to do any condition, then you have to use if function. So as I clicked I got the options of all these things: if error, if any, all those things. So let's start with if, right? I'll just click. If you want to understand, it will also give you the hint. If checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and other value if false, right? And now I can just click on if, or I can click tab. If I click tab, this will give me if function. Now, if you see here, in if, there is one logical test, then comma, then there is argument. If my value is true of a logical test, then this will give me this value, otherwise this value. So basically in if, there are three components, A, B, and C, right? My A component is a condition, right? In our case, the condition is department should be HR and bonus should be greater than 10,000. If these two conditions are met, my B is value that is true. I want yes when the condition is true. So instead of B, I will say yes in double quotes. Because this is my text, I am adding in double quotes. And if it is false, I want no, right? So my two arguments are sorted. So I am done with this. Now I need to work on my logical test, right? Instead of A, now I want if my department. So I'll just select this cell. So now, as you can see here, my cell is selected. I'm not selecting R&D. You have to be sure of it. I'm not selecting R&D. I'm selecting E2. I'm selecting the cell, right? If this is equal to HR, right? So let's go in double quotes. If it is equal to HR, we have one more condition. Let's go with one condition right now. Let's press enter, right? Now, if I control shift L, that is filter, and if I filter HR, so you can see everything is yes. That means our function or formula is working so far, right? If I click no, all the departments, no one will have HR. So you can see back office, IT or R&D, right? So every yes will give me HR department. So any doubt so far? Any one
No,
of you?
No.
no.
All right. So now in our case, we have multiple components. So here we have a bonus greater than 10,000 as well. So after this condition, so this is my formula bar. Instead of working here, I can work here, this space as well, right? So after this, I will press and, right? Now my bonus, this column, bonus, I'm again referring not to value. I'm referring to my cell address, that is G2. My bonus is greater than 10,000, right? Now it will give me yes only when these two conditions are met. I press enter. All right, something is wrong over here because now it is giving me yes for R&D as well, but I want for HR and this. I have to check in Excel how it works. Okay, I think this is N.
There is a space between and the next column. So
I think we use and before the department, and then we have to put our conditions. That first condition, department equal to HR, comma, then second condition is bonus greater than 10,000. We have to add and before this department.
Okay,
Yes,
that
if and
yes.
if and
Oh, yes, you're right.
if and
Yesterday I was working on Python. So Python, we are working on all these things. You're absolutely right. Yes.
Yes, and this
So
comma,
syntax changes for these things. You're right. So here,
comma.
in Excel, we use and like this. Whenever these two conditions are important, once press enter. Yes, thank you so much for clarifying. Now let's check for HR and let's check for bonuses greater than 10,000. Now you can see my formula is working really fine for HR as well as bonus greater than 10,000, right? So this is yes. All other columns or rows would be no. So what this function is doing is, this is my first parameter, right? Here I'm saying and means whenever these both of these conditions are true. It's not like or. So if I'm saying either of these conditions are to be met, then instead of and, I can use or, right? So these are the two logical functions, and or, which are predominantly used. There are others as well. So if I want either of these conditions to be met, then I will use or. If I want both of these conditions to meet, then I'll use and. So department should be HR, comma, condition number two, bonus is greater than 10,000. Bracket closed, comma, then value whatever is the value you want when the conditions are met. Else this. So this is how we have to work on if function. So any questions from anyone else?
I don't have anything.
All right. So there is one more thing. Sometimes while working on these functions, you might face an error. For example, if you have any error over here in bonus, right? So instead of no or yes, you might get error, right? So you don't want that. You want it should be yes or no, or any other parameter or any other text you would like to add. So how you can change this? Instead of if, anyone who would like to tell?
If error, if error we can insert.
Instead of if, you can use if error, right? So in this, you just need to add if error, then you have to mention particular context, right? But generally, you can just go with if as well. So that is fine, right? So this is one. So let's talk about calculations in Excel. Calculation will be like this. For example, you would like to have a subtotal of each column. So let me just add a column, sorry, row in front here. Now I want a total of this salary. So anyone who can help me with the formula. I want to sum this salaries,
Subtotal.
Sub subtotal equal to sum, and then we can select the entire row.
Yeah.
Equal to subtotal. Select the range. Sorry, 9 for sum and then select the range.
right? So here,
Yeah.
what we have done is we have worked on subtotal function. 9 is for sum, right? So this is a function underscore num. This is for sum. So we have to do sum. So if anyone has doubt like why we didn't use sum, so I can use this. My answer will be perfect. So why to go for some subtotal? So I can just copy this. I can drag this till total expense and control V. So I'll get the
Subtotal will help us at the
okay.
time of whenever we will filter the data. It will give the sum of the filtered value only.
Yes. So now this sum is okay 1 crores 23 lakhs 27,054 554. Right. Now let's try to select couple of them. Now the subtotal is the same. So it is not changing because this is my salary which is fixed. So it is giving me total. I want subtotal. For example, this is my total salary. This is 64,634. So it should show me six whatever it was, 64,634. It should show me that number of sale, right? For example, let's go over here. And let's take it easy like this. we have the same data, right? I am talking about the department. Let's say this is salary, and these are expenses and all other stuff. Now, my first option is sum. So if I am doing sum, right? So this is my 9,55,943, right? This is my salary. All right. This is my department. Now, if I say I want to check for R&D only. Now my salary is what? 9,55,943. But what it should be? 5,67,000 or 6,700. Right? So instead of sum, if I use subtotal 9, comma, and my range will start from B4, right? It will go till B, let's say B20. And like this. So here you can see here, 9 is for sum. So I'll just click 9. I'll just drag this itself. Press enter. Right. Now, if I select R&D, now you can see according to the filter, your value for subtotal has changed. So the total for R&D is 5 lakhs 6,792, right? So this is what it is showing. For some, it was not showing for the existing filter. So what I'm saying is using subtotal will help you to get the value for the existing filter, and some will give you for total, which is not required or desired sometimes, right? So subtotal is really helpful. In subtotal, you can have average, you can have count, you can have count A, max, min, product, standard deviations, which might not be used now. Then some variations, product, some product is also there. So basically, the most important will be sum and count and average in some of the cases, right? So basically, you will use subtotal, comma, 9, comma, and then you will just select, just drag the number of cells, or you can just start from cell number colon till the last cell and then bracket closed, right? So this is what you have to do. Anyone with the doubts related to this?
Not so far.
Great. So now let's go for count function. Now let's say we have this data set, we have to count number of employees. First option is just drag this and you are getting the count is 168 employees. So one problem with this is there can be duplicate employee records, which you might not have considered. So the best way is if you have employee ID, which is my primary key, which is called unique key, because employee ID cannot be for two people. One employee ID will be designated for one employee, right? So if we can work on the primary key, so there is this concept of primary key and foreign key, which works in computer science, maybe in Excel, in SQL, or Power BI. So if we have two tables, right? Table number one is this. This is my employee table. But right now here, I don't have employee ID. Let's say I add employee ID and I know employee codes for each and every employee. So this will be my primary key. We call it as PK, primary key, right? And primary key, by word, it is unique. Each and every value should be unique. So if this employee has 1001, this cannot be 1001. So this will not be defined as primary key. If all the values are different, then only we will call it as a primary key, right? So once we have defined a particular column as a primary key, on that particular column, we can do count, or we can do distinct count, and we can get a number of employees. This is what we generally do in dashboards. So I'll explain you that on Power BI. Uh, that will be really helpful, right? So this is one. Otherwise, if you want to count number of rows or anything, so if you want to count, let's say you want to count this text, I'll just say equal to count, right? Uh, on this employees age count, and then I'll just select all of them. This will give me the count of all the records I have done, right? And I can do a calculation here also. If I want to do a condition count only if my age is greater than 30, or age is greater than 35, or less than 20. So you can just write equal to count. And it's very important to understand, like, this function count, it counts the number of cell in a range that contains numbers. So there is no condition defined here. If I go to count A, counts the number of cell in the range that are not empty. So if there are some rows which are empty, and you don't know that, so in that case you should use count A, so that you're not falsifying the output, right? Third is count blank. So if you want to count the number of empty cells in a specified range of cells, so you can use this. Then it comes countif. Now I'm saying count the number of cells within the range that meets the given condition, right? So you'll use count if, right? And then the range, you will define the range and then the criteria, and then you are good to go. Right, so this is how we can use countif. We can use sum. Similarly, we can use sum if also. There are two concepts: sum if, sum ifs, right? If there is one condition, then you can use sum if. There are more than one condition, two conditions, three, four conditions, then you will use sum ifs function, sum ifs. So it's like this. If I click here, sum if, so these are two options. Sum if is like adds the cell specified by a given condition or a criteria, and sum ifs is a add the cell specified by a given set of conditions or criteria. Again, the same thing, only the difference is sum ifs will cater to more conditions and criterias, right? Now going ahead with pivot and all, I would like to add one more thing, which is like VLOOKUP. So if you have worked on Excel, I think VLOOKUP is the most commonly used function, and it is still used. I mean, apart from index and matching, which is very useful, but I would like to tell you about VLOOKUP today. Now, let's go to our sheet. One second. Yep. So this is my sheet here, right? So this is my Excel expense, ABC, whatever column name. So this is my table one, right? My table two is this. I would say department, let's say R&D. This is not unique. For example, let's go with employee ID. Let's say we have 12 employees, right? So this is my data. I have 12 employees, their salary, bonus, expense, and any other column, right? This is my table one. Now, we have departments, or we have employee ID once again, right? Now here we have 1004, 1007, 1010, right? So this is my employee, right? Now I want to add this salary. Now, how we can use is like for 1000, my salary is this one, 123584. For 1007, the salary is 91,003, right? For 1010, the salary is 83,147. So these are my salaries for these three employees. But there will be a lot of data. We don't want to do this manually, right? So one option is VLOOKUP. So the formula for is equal to VLOOKUP, right? So what is my lookup value? My lookup value is the employee ID 1001. So I want the salary for this particular employee ID. That is my lookup value, right? Then comma, second parameter is table array. So where I am looking for this. So this is where I'm looking for. So I can select the complete data from here, right? I can select till salary also. Currently, I just want to have salary, so I can select these two columns. Otherwise, if you want to select all the columns, you can do that as well. No problem. Let's select the complete table. Then my table array is completed, so I'll just select comma. Now it is asking for column index number, right? So where is my salary? Salary is on the column number 2. So I'll just select 2. And then my match should be exact, right? So when I'm saying exact, that means 1004 should match with 1004, nothing else. So I'll just select false and then bracket closed. Press enter. So now you can see here my salary for employee 1004, 123584. 1004, 123584. It is exactly matching. So I am getting the salary as I desired for this employee without manually copying and pasting. Now I can just drag and drop and I'll get it. So there is one problem in this. I'll explain you. So currently you can see that you're getting the salary for each and every employee. If I have more employees, let's say 1000, 1005, 1004. So if I drag this, I'll get the salary. But now you can see here I'm getting error. Still, even if I am having the salary for 1003. So the problem here is, as I started with address, cell address. So if you see over here, my table is A3 E15. So it is starting from A3 and ending to E15, correct? This is my table. Now, if I see this column, this cell, for example, here you can see my table is coming from A7 to E19, A7 to E19. So you can see the table has been shifted downwards because when I dragged it, when I dragged, when I copied this and dragged this, these cells are not fixed, right? So these went from A3 to A4 and E15 to A16. Then the next one went from E4 to A4 to A5, E16 to E17, right? How to solve this? This is where I was saying we have to use dollar sign. Now we know that the table is fixed. It will remain the same for each and every column or row. Then let's start with this sign, dollar sign. So dollar E, dollar 3, then dollar E, dollar 15. So I am fixing row as well as column, right? Now if I drag this, if I superimpose this, now you will get the correct values. You want to cross check for 1003, Salary is 1,03,664. This is my salary. Right. So it is very important. VLOOKUP is really important. I have seen in various interviews, if people are looking only for Excel experts, VLOOKUP is basic. I mean, without VLOOKUP, it is very difficult to get through. VLOOKUP and index matching and all those stuff. So, any doubt on this? Anyone who has not worked more on Excel? Anyone who would like to know more on this? Anything?
So Jayesh here, I just wanted to know okay, why you use the dollar sign in that, no, between the rows, between the columns, sorry.
This dollar? Okay, so you're saying in the column, you can remove this. That's what you're saying?
Yes. Is it mandatory to use dollar sign?
No, 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 it's not mandatory. But when you know your table is fixed, it's a good way to have the dollar sign. But if you enter this and drag down, still the values will remain the same. Because anyway, the columns are not changing, right? The ultimate goal of dollar is when the values are changing and you don't want that. Because we are going downwards, the columns are fixed, A and E column. So even if you remove the dollar sign, the values are matching, right? So it all depends. Here, my column is J, right? The column is fixed anyway, and this is changing, right? So I'm not doing anything here, right? So it is not mandatory to use dollar sign. All right, so I'll just quickly tell you a couple of things, then I'll go on Power Pivot and then Power BI. That is something which is, I think, everyone is more interested in. So here, one thing is very important to understand is if I want to work on conditional formatting. I want to highlight various data so as to represent and understand more. Let's say I have this review status. I have, let's say, these three things: completed, in progress, yet to start. So I want to color these three status in a different color. So I can use conditional formatting. I can highlight the cells. I can highlight on the basis of number. So if I want to highlight salary, so I want to say I want to have highlighted salaries of more than 1 lakh, uh, greater than 1 lakh. Let's say custom format with the green color or any color for the time being. I want to make it bold, right? Let's do with this for now and click OK. So I can create all those things. This is my conditional formatting. So whatever is highlighted, it is more than 1 lakh, right? Otherwise, it's not easy to understand and see which data is there. And now, if you want to highlight instead of bold, for example, greater than 1 lakh, you want to do it from red fill or green. These are more than 1 lakh, right? And then now, if you want to highlight only 10 items, top 10 items, right? So I need to see and see sort by color. Uh, Let me just do this once again. If I want to highlight top 10, or let's say top 5, top 10 is also fine. Click OK, right? And this, I will sort this. And you can see these are my top 10, right? So these are the top 10 employees on the basis of salary, right? So this is how you can highlight. Control Z. Now, if you want to, yes, we were working on this and various other things. So if you want to have data bars, you can have data bars in the number formats or salary, bonus, overtime, total expense. You can have bar. Again, I'll just go back to salary, or let's say this time bonus. Formatting data bars, simple like this. So if you want to have these kind of bars, this will give you somewhat picture of what exactly it is. If you want to go on color scheme, this will give you so higher the this number, it is more green. Lower number, it is more of red. So it goes from color red towards green. In middle, it is yellow. So you can use or you can custom use and work on that, right? And then you can create the icons, right? So this will give you more picture if your sales are growing from last year or employees are grown or performance is improving, you can use the upward green arrow. If it is going down, you can use downward red arrow. So all those stuffs you can use so many indicators and all those stuff here, right? And then you can set the rules. Right now it is default. You can set here like what exactly you would like to do over here, right? So I think basic things are done over here, and there are many other things. Let's quickly go to insert and I'll click on pivot table. Click OK. Right. So this is the new worksheet that I have been coming into. This is my worksheet of Power Pivot table. Right. Just minimize this. These are pivot table fields. So one is this is my table. So total there are 4 areas. One is filter. So filter will go over here, right? Then there is columns, rows, and values. So ultimately, the most like without anything like column and values, these are the most important things. And rows basically. Filter, it's okay if you don't use filter. Without filter also, your data will be fine. A filter we are using just to slice the data. Let's say I want to do on the basis of gender, salary, right? Anyone who can tell me if I want to get the average of salary, how can I get this?
Right click of numbers.
Here,
Yes.
yeah,
And just show value as average. This above one. Summarize the value by.
summarize. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. So there are two ways. So one is if you just click here, whenever you're adding, so there are value field settings. So generally you would like to work from value field settings, right? So here we are getting summarize values by, show values as, right? Here you can just change the custom name also, right? So you can add average salary, right? And you just select average. So again, average of salary, it is showing this. It's fine. Now you want to, if you want to count, if you want to get the maximum salary for that particular category, minimum salary, product. So whatever, let's go with average right now. Select OK. So now you're getting the average of like females, their average salary is 81,000. For male, it is 73,668. Right? So this is how you can use. And then I can increase the decimal here. So I'll just select both of them, right? So let's say I want up to 2 decimal. So I'll just use this decrease decimal. So it will show me fewer decimal places, right? So this is one. And secondly, as you correctly said, right click here, summarize value as, select average, or you can select any other from here as well and click on option. You will get more, right? Now, if you want to create a chart on this, simply just go on insert. And let's say if I want to create a pie chart, simple pie chart, I'll click on pie chart and this is giving me average of salary. Uh, the blue one is female, orangish is male. If you want to add more elements, you can just click on plus sign, click on data labels. This will give me data labels, right? Let me just have it outside, for example. I'll get it outside. And then I won't go into data designing and all the beautifying the dashboard. That is again a very different scape. Currently, I would like to explain more on the functionality part, right? So using this, you can have data labels, right? You can go anywhere. You can use legends. right? So right now it is right aligned, so I can use top aligned, right? Chart title, you can go anywhere from here. If you want to change the style, you can use any one of them, right? So this is how you create this, and this is how you have created one chart. Now, so as we were working on Excel, I'll just skim all the things, and then let's go directly to Power BI, because that is something everyone is also interested. Plus, that is also very important for us to understand. In the meanwhile, if anyone has any question on Excel, anything in Excel, just let me know, and then let's go ahead with Power BI. So all good with everyone? Let's go for Power BI.
I am I'm having no questions. Just one more hint I require in terms of that nested formula that you uh, shared for that
Yes.
department is HR and bonus is more than 10K. I tried to do it your way. I could not do it.
Yeah.
I'm nearby that formula, but I'm not
Okay, no
able
problem.
to not able
So
to
first
achieve
of
it.
all, that is not a nested if. Nested if is called when we are using two ifs, right?
Okay,
So yeah, this is not nested, but yes,
this is
uh,
if and and. Yeah.
yeah. So basically there are three components or parameter that we say in if. So one is logical test, right? Second
Okay.
is if that logical test is true, then give me this value. Otherwise, third component is give me this value when it is false. So true and false, it is sorted that we are giving yes and no,
Mhm.
right?
So
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 basically the
we
most
put yes and
challenging
no
part is this.
first.
This is the challenging part, the first uh, parameter, right?
Okay.
Here
Okay.
I'm saying we have two condition inside and first condition is if my department
Department.
is equal to HR, right? Comma. Second condition, my salary or wherever it was,
Bonus.
this, okay, we for bonus, yeah. Bonus is greater than 10,000, right? Now you have to close this bracket,
Okay.
right? Now
So
press enter.
okay.
Yeah.
So what I earlier used to do is that you just put you just took one cell like R&D, one cell here. The cell
Hmm.
name is what is this? This is uh,
E2. Oh, sorry, B, C,
A
D2.
B A B C.
E2.
Acha, it is E2. But what I used to do is that I'll just put mouse over E, then I'll select the entire E column. So if we can do it, still do it.
No. So this will go row by row. So when you are using if function, so it will check for the condition for that particular row itself. It won't go anywhere else.
Okay.
So it is a row context filter.
But the row or you mean to say column? No, because we have to check under column under column G, we have to check all the cells, which
Let's
in terms
say,
of value, the bonus is more than 10K. So we have to check under all cells under column G. No?
no, that is true. I say, let's forget about all these records. There is only one row,
Okay.
right? I want to say for this row, if my department is HR and bonus is greater than 10,000, give me
Hmm.
yes,
Hmm.
right? I want this yes. So how we can do this? So my question would be, I'll give these two conditions कि जब भी मेरा department ये वाला department is equal to HR
Hmm.
and bonus this bonus is greater than 10,000, then give me yes,
Yeah.
otherwise give me no. So this function, if function will work row by row. So once this row is done, it will go to the next row. Once row 2 is
This
executed, it
row
will go
2
to
and
the
row 3
third
and
row.
row 4 and
So it will go row by row,
likewise.
right? So
Okay.
if function or any other function in Excel this way, if we are calculating sum also, if I'm saying sum, right?
Hmm.
And I'm just working on this. So it will work
These
on this
sums.
particular row. So it will work row by row, depending on the functionality that you're using.
Okay. Got it.
Perfect. So anything else? So let's move
No,
to,
yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
all right. So you guys have Power BI. You want me to help you with installing Power BI, or we can just go ahead with explaining Power BI?
I have installed it, but
I have installed.
I could not register it. So is if the registration is required, what we can do with the
See,
version that is
so
installed?
basically, you need official email ID to register. So you cannot log in with your Gmail account. So that is one.
Yeah, that was there. So
Yep. So
for official
I'll,
email ID, there should be some company email ID or something.
yes. So I'll just share my screen.
And without registering, can we work on Power BI?
Yes, we can work on Power BI desktop.
Okay.
So we have desktop version. Will this
Yes,
sufficient for us?
yes. It is sufficient to understand, learn, create dashboards. So you need a license, or you would say you need to log in if you have to go on Power BI service. So Power BI service is a online platform of Power BI where you can just publish the reports, and that report can be can be accessed by anyone who has the access of that particular dashboard. So if I go on Power BI, Microsoft, you're able to see the screen.
Yes, yes.
All right. So we are on Power BI from Microsoft. So here you can see start for free, build your first Power BI report today, right? So you can start from here, or you can just download the desktop version. If I click here, it will ask me for my email ID, right? But if I write my Gmail ID, it will not work. So it has written enter your work or school email ID. We will check if you need to create new account. So if you are already logged in, then it will tell you that you already have the account, just need to log in. Otherwise, it will create for you. So this is very simple, but you need to log in through your work email or school email ID. So once you install, you will have a Power BI desktop icon. You just need to open, and then you can, start working there. So this is how it looks. So first of all, you will get this kind of a pop-up, right? Left hand side, this is Power BI desktop. This will show you if you have any recovered files, any unsaved file, or any file which got, which got closed, or last session, you can check that. These are the recent reports that you will be seeing here. If you want to directly jump into get data, you can do it from here. But my suggestion is just close this and no need to work on this. Now, this is my Power BI desktop, right? First, I'll explain you the layout of it. Then I'll explain you how to create it. So basically, I have files. So here you can just click on new, and then new file will be created, right? Not required anyways. Yeah. So new file has been created. It will come again like this. I'll close this once again, going back. Second option is open report. If you already have any report which you want to open, you can just click there. If you want to save your report, click here, save as new file, get data, import, export. All these things are not required because anyways, there are other good extensions for it. This is important. Click on open options and settings. One option is options. Click on options. Here you will see all the settings that you are doing here. right? So currently you don't need to change anything in this, but it's good to know all these things. So what I would say is just read which are the features: Power BI query editor, direct query, R scripting, what exactly it is, but not required as of now, right? Then second is option is data source settings. If I clicked here, currently I don't have any data source, so I'm not getting anything here. But later on, for example, if you're importing data from SQL database, if you're importing from Azure, or if you're importing data directly from ERP systems, right? So all those connections will be, shown over here. You can change the permissions, you can clear them, or you can modify them, or you can export that. All that can be done from here. But again, this is not required. This is the most important thing. This is my ribbon where this is get data. So for example, right now I don't have any data. This is blank, right? You can see nothing is here. So I have three icons. One is report view. Report view is the this screen where you are creating the reports. For example, if I drag the visuals from here, right? Here I'll just add the data and then you will create the dashboard. Second is my data view. This is where you will see all the data tables. So right hand side, the table names will be specified. Left hand side, this blank screen, here you will be having the table. And the third is model view. Here you will find the relationship between the various tables. So if you have multiple tables, you will see the relationship between them, right? So these three things are there. Here you will have new pages, like in Excel, there are multiple workbooks, right? You can create different pages, right? Now coming back to the ribbon, top side, you have get data. So there is a quick version, like don't go to get data and directly click on Excel if you have your Excel data, because that is generally used, widely used. So let me just get the data itself, then I'll explain you. Let's say this is my data, 5 data set. This is what we are working on. I'll just click open. Here you can see in this particular Excel, I have these many sheets, right? So if I click on, let's say, data set 1. So this is the data set we were working on, right? If I click on data set 2, so this is the table. Data set 4, 5, data, so which we're working on, everything, right? So once again, let's try to work on data set 1. So for that, this I need to select. I'll click here. It is tick mark. Now I need to load or transform data. So what is the difference between this? Load means you're just importing the data as it is. Transform data is like if you feel that you need to change or modify the data and you just want to go directly to Power Query. So if you click on transform data, it will go directly to Power Query, which is another tool inside Power BI. So Power Query is a very important tool, you can say. It works in Excel as well. So some of you might not have worked on Power Query. So Power Query is there in Excel as well. So if you have worked on Excel, there is an option of Power Query. Anyways, so let's try to load right now. So it is showing that creating connection in a model. And once this is loaded, right hand side under data, this is my data, you will see the table name, right? So you can see over here, data set 1. If I expand this, you will have all these columns. Now, if I go to data view, you will have this data table, right? So you can see over here, I have so many 160 records here, right? So this will give me 160 records. If I click any particular column, this will show me that there are total 160 column, 160 rows, and there are 28 distinct values. What do we mean by 28 distinct values? That means there are total number of 160 numbers, but there are 28 distinct. For example, 28 might be repeating 10 times, 36 age can be repeating 20 times. So overall, we are having 28 values. So it is good to know these kind of statistics. So if I say this is my status, status can be active, terminated, or notice period. So there are three distinct values out of 160 rows. And on top of it, for each column, you will see the data type. As I explained you, for hire date, it should be date, right? So it automatically took hire date as my date format, and which is absolutely fine. So if you want to add time also, you can have date and time, right? So this is my age, which is my whole number, which is absolutely fine, right? It should not be decimal or something, but it again depends. Gender is a text, right? Status is again text. Department is also text. Salary can be anything whole number, or it can be in decimal, right? It can be decimal or fixed decimal, whatever you would feel like. Same with these things. So this is one. All right. So now if I go towards right, so this is my summarization. So on this summarization, sum is there. You can click on average, you can go anywhere, but right now let's not go there. If you want to sort this table, you can just click here. You want to sort this table on the basis of which column. So you can just select here, right? Now let's go to the front where the magic happens. Now I want to say I want to create a pie chart for gender versus salary, the way we worked on
Uh,
Excel.
Atikant, just
Yes,
one sec. Can we take one step back? How how did you come to this screen? I was with you on this table, but how did you go to the next step?
this one.
Yeah, this page. From
So
where did you
on
go?
the left hand side, there are three
Acha.
icons as you can see.
Okay. Data
So I
view,
am
data
basically
view.
toggling between these three icons,
Okay.
right?
So
So
this
this is
is
my relationship. Now you can see there is one table which I can see. If I have 10 tables, you will see there would be 10 tables, right? Now if I toggle to data view, I will have this table,
Acha. Okay.
right?
We were in
If,
data view. Now we are in the first one, the report view.
now I will go to report view,
Okay.
right? So now I'm here. So let me just delete this also. So this is where we are creating the dashboard, right? Let's say from this data, I want number of employees. So I will have this data card. So basically, this is my panel of visualization. So there are basic visualizations that I am having over here. If you want to have any other, you can just click on three dots and get more visuals from the Power BI market. So most of them are free, some are paid, but mostly these visuals are sufficient for your work, right? Let's go for, let's say, number of employees. For this, there is this card, 1, 2, 3, where you are seeing. I'll just click on card, right? Here, let me just add, let's say from here, I don't have employee ID, so I cannot use that, but I can use, let's say, gender. It's not the best way, but let's go for gender. I'll just drag gender in the fields. You can see where I'm dragging. I'll just click here and I'll just select instead of first. Here it is showing me first. That's why it is showing me female, because first record might be female if I do the sorting, right?
I'm not able to drag that gender here.
Where?
Uh, from fields, add data field here, but I'm
So you have
clicking the
opened in your system.
yeah. I'm doing it in parallel with you.
So if you drag gender in fields, you're not able
Okay,
to do
I
this,
okay. I will okay, first gender. Okay, I could
right? One
yeah.
more option is just click here in the this square. Just click here. It will
I clicked there.
automatically,
I clicked
right?
there. Gender, yeah.
Now click on this down arrow. I want to count. If you click on count distinct, what will be the answer here?
Count is where it is count distract. I'm not able to do it.
Distinct.
Count.
So if I click on account distinct, the answer will be wrong because count
Because
is
we
like,
cannot count.
yeah, because it is showing me that gender is obviously like male and female. There are two count of genders. So in that perspective, it is fine. But I'm using gender for calculating the total number of employees. So in that case, I want to count the total, not distinct. So I'll just click on count. So you can see there are total 160. So I want to change this card. I'll just change here. Let's say I'll just call this number of employees and press enter. So my card name has changed. I'll just modify this. I can beautify this as well. Let's say my font size is 30. It is bold. Color is, let's say, dark blue. Right? Display is this. If I work on category label. So there are two options as you can see in visual, call out value and category label. So value is depicting this 160, which I'm getting from the fields. Category label is the label, the gender. So I'm changing here the font size and all those stuff, right? Now, if I click on general, I can click on effects. I can change the background color. Let's say I want to change to light gray, right? So I can just make it small to make it more like a card, right? Now I can reduce or increase the transparency. I can make it 50%. I can have visual border. So now if I just see, I can have a border of blue color with, let's say, rounded corners. You can see now it is looking slightly beautiful, right? And now if I again go to general, if you want to have shadow, all those stuff, so it will make even more impactful. So I can just control C and control V. I can have multiple, you know, cards, right? So now I can change these cards. So I'm saying I want total employees, right? What else we can have it from here? I can say total number of departments. So I can have total number of departments. I'll just remove the field from there. I'll add this department, this field. Again, I'll just do count. Again, in this count, distinct or count, which one we should use?
Distinct.
So I want to have a total number of departments. Exactly. So rightly said, we have to use distinct. Otherwise, if I use count, again, it will give me 160, right? So I will use distinct. So it will give me total number of departments as 4, which is R&D, IT, HR, and back office, right? So total number of departments are 4. I'll just change the name of this field, number of departments, right? So now I have number of employees as 160, number of departments as 4, right? Now, what else can we add? We can add, let's say, maximum salary, minimum salary, depending on your requirement. So I'm just leaving this as of now. Let's add um, hmm, more charts. Let's add
Atikant,
this. Yes,
I have a question. So,
yes,
if you go to the second one, data view, if suppose there is a information there, now I add on the information, like I add, after 160, I add five more employees. So automatically it will change in the sheet in the
yes,
first one.
yes.
Okay.
So, yes, so we are taking it from, let's do it right now. I'm taking it from downloads. This one, I guess. So the best way is, let me just save this, close. The best way to understand is, I'm working here, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just go here, recent sources, right? I can see this is my recent source.
Okay.
Or the better version is click on three dots, click on edit query, right?
Hmm.
So this will open Power Query. So this is the Power Query editor, which is for Excel also, right? So I have this table. I'll click on Advanced Editor. This will give me the location from which I have input this table, right? So it is coming from C drive users, Atikan Jain, downloads, 5 dataset, XLSX, right? So ultimately, I have to go to downloads and 5 dataset. Go to downloads, and this is my table,
Hmm.
right? So this is my table I'm using. I have 160 till 161 rows. So you're
Hmm.
saying let's try to add more. Let's say I copy these 3 records, right? So we have added 6 records,
Yeah.
correct? So first I have to save this. So I'll just do Control plus S, save, right? I'll go back to my Power BI, right? I just don't need this. I'll close this as well. Right? Yes, this is my Power Query.
Hmm.
Currently, we have 160 records. What I'll
Yeah.
do is I'll click here, 3 dots, and refresh data. So once I click on refresh data, it will go back to the original source and it will refresh. Now it is loading. See.
Okay.
So now, hopefully, we should get those many records. So now you have seen it is updated to
One.
160,
Correct.
right? So it is very convenient if you're working on Excel. Add more data there and just refresh over here. All the data will be over here. Don't worry on that part,
Okay.
right? So this is how powerful Power BI is,
Hmm.
right? So whatever you do edit in Excel, you need to refresh here and everything will be here itself, right? So now let's try to create more visuals. Any suggestions which visual I can create? Any kind of KPI you would like to measure from this particular data?
Adhikant, is data set we have 167 rows, but in our reports it is showing 166. Is it including the header as well?
No, actually, the number of rows is 160 only. There is the
So
number of
here
header.
167 means there would be 167 records apart from the header.
Apart from the header, so our
Yes.
reports, it the number of employees should be 167,
So it is taking, see, it is
including
taking
the
this
header.
blank also. No, 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 it is not including header. What it is taking is it is taking this blank also.
Okay,
Because you can see this table I have added, no? So this is
okay,
table till 168,
okay.
right? So it is including blank. So you might have a blank here. This blank, see. So it is also including this as one record.
Okay, got it.
Right? So so basically if you want to remove these errors, just go to Power Query. Just go to Power Query. It is the best example to explain the use of Power Query, right? So now we have the same data, right? This data is coming from Excel, right? So I'll just click here. So you can see here something is wrong because this green line is not 100%. You can see this gray line over here, right? You can see if I hover here, one it is showing as empty. So this is where I have to see, right? Here it is not showing, but it is empty. If I click here, again it is not showing. Let me just refresh. Yes. So now it is showing me null as well, right? If I select null, it will give me one record. And you can see all the columns are null. So that means this record is useless for us, right? Because it is not significant, so we can remove this from our system. So I'll just remove this again. So I have this data. So what I'll do is I'll unselect this. So when I unselect this and click OK, this will create another step over here, filtered rows. And once I close and apply, you will see the record will be gone, right? So this is how you can clean the data. If you go on Power Query, again, if I go on Power Query, so the beauty of Power Query is it creates the steps of whatever you are doing, right? So I created a filter. So that's why it created a step. If I just want to see what exactly I did, I just click on this settings button. It did was keep rows where gender does not equal to null. So ultimately, afterwards also, whenever the gender is null, it will delete these records or remove these records from my system. So I don't need them anyways, right? And if you do the same thing over here, now I'm on Power Query desktop here in data view. If I filter, let's say I filter male, right? Now you say that go to report view and do the analysis, it will be only for male. No. If you do any filter in data view, it won't impact. This is just for your reference that you have filtered male. But ultimately, it won't filter the data for your analysis. But whatever filter you do in Power Query editor, it will remain. So if I say, if I filter only male, I want only male uh, data analysis on male gender. Now, if I close and apply, so you will see the records are changing and I have only gender as male, right? Even if I clear the filters, everything, it will remain the male and total are 95 records, right? Total employees 95, everything changed, right? So this is how we work on Power Query, the difference between working on Power Query and versus data view. So again, now if I want to go back to my previous setting, what should I do? Anyone who can help me out with this?
Sorry, what you said?
The question is, right now I have filtered only male, right? Here I have
Mm-hmm.
male. I
Mm-hmm.
want female records as well. Back to the original file.
So
So how do you,
we can remove that filter row and we will
select
reach out
what
From
is
to
here?
that.
required?
Yes,
From here?
remove the step. Yes.
Yes. So the best part is I'll remove this step because this step is not required. I'll click here, right? Now I'm back with my male and female and null. So ultimately I'll just do this once again. I don't want null. Click OK and go back to my data set because it is ready to be worked upon. Is this concept clear, Power Query? Because this is the basic which I have told you on Power Query. If you can understand this, then things will be easier later on.
Yes.
Wonderful. So this is one part. Now let's create. So any suggestions on KPI that I can create for this? Or you would like to have department-wise salary or something?
Atikant, one thing, I just take one step back. Can you please
Mhm.
show me once again, how did you go to the Power Query
So there are
from
two
Excel?
options. Yes, from Excel.
Yeah, yeah, from Excel. Or from Power BI. Mm,
So in Excel, we have this data.
yes, yes. Table.
Click on data, right?
Where are you? Okay, data.
In Excel, I'm telling you, this
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
my
Okay,
table,
okay, okay,
right?
okay.
Click on data on the ribbon,
Mm-hmm.
and then click on from table ranges
From table ranges. Okay.
because I have already selected this table here.
Hmm. Okay. From table ranges. Sure, it goes to Power Query Editor. And
Yes.
what's its utility in terms of Power BI?
Come again, what is this?
What is its utility? How do we use this in terms of Power BI?
See, the purpose of Power Query is same for both Power BI as well as Excel. So, Power Excel as well as Power BI, these are all Microsoft products. So they have created Power Query, which works well with both Excel as well as Power BI. And so whatever benefits it has for Excel, it has the same for Power BI. And basically, if you want to work intensively on Power Query, we work on M Query. So let's say if you
Okay.
want to add a column, let's say I want to add a custom column, right? So now here, normal if function will not work. Here, M
Okay.
query works. So even if we have to work on if, there is a different syntax. So here we are using M query, but this is not required. Like even I am working on so many Power BI projects, so it is usually used like 20% of most of the time.
Okay.
Basically,
Okay.
we are working on Power Query, like here, like slicing and dicing, working on these data, and then working on DAX. I'll explain you that later on.
Okay.
So I'll just close this window
Yes,
which
please.
I have
Yeah.
added from Excel,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Let's go back to Power
Yes.
BI.
So here in Power BI, there are two ways to go to Power Query. One is for this data set, I'll click on three dots,
Okay.
click on Edit Query,
Edit
right? Once I click on
query.
Edit Query, you will go there.
Edit query. And we
Second
go there.
option is on report view. Click on transform data, right? Here you
Okay.
can click on transform data. If I click on transform data, it will go to Power Query. If I have
Okay.
multiple tables in queries, it will be shown like dataset 1, dataset 2, whatever is the table name. So it will show the list. I can just click on those table names and the tables will change. And then I can work on those tables,
Okay.
right? So yes, let's go back to our main page. Let's create some more visuals. Let's say department wise, sales. I want total sales department wise. In this, what I did was I selected this. I'll just select it once again. I can click here and it will be hovered over here. And then I'll go to department. I'll just drag it towards y-axis, right? Now I want salary. Salary can be dragged on the x-axis. Let me close the recovered files, not required right now. Yeah. So this is what it is showing me. This is my sum of salary. So for R&D, this is my total salary given. For back office, this is the total salary. For IT, this is total salary. HR, this is total salary. So if I wanted to see this from the table, it was very tough to understand. From here, instantly I could see R&D is providing like more salary, total salary. It's not like average salary is higher, but in totality, there might be more people. That's why the total salary is more. So in totality, the salary disposed is more in R&D. You can see instantly. So this is the power of visual. So this is the basic thing. Let's go and see the average of salary. Let's say, so here in the right hand side in x-axis, sum of salary, I'll click on the down arrow. Instead of sum, I'll click on average. Here I can see HR is getting the highest salary. Amazing. So HR is number one. Second is R&D. Third is back office. Fourth is IT, right? To make it more visually appealing, we should have data labels over here, right? So for this, click on this format your visuals. So this is the best part. Click on format your visuals. This data label, this is off. You need to toggle it on. Click here you'll get it over here. So on an average, you're getting 90,000. So again, you need to change the unit so that you can get the accurate or exact values, right? So from a data label, I'll go to values, display unit. I'll click none. I don't want any display unit, right? So now I got 90,161.09. For R&D, the average salary is 80,134.09. So this bar chart is showing me this amazingly. Like you're instantly getting what is my average salary. And you can change the title from here. Go to general, click on title. So this is, so title looks good, so I'm not changing it, but you can change it from here. You can make it bold. If you want this to have a different background, you can have this. You want in center, right? Now, if I want to change the background of this, so can, it will be in general itself, effects, background. Let's say I want light gray. And again, the transparency, let's say 40%, visual border is on with, let's say, this color itself, rounded 7, shadow is on. So this is how my visual is prepared. Here, this x-axis and y-axis you can change. You can change it to any other name as well from here. For example, you want to write average salary, for example. You just write, and the name will change, right, from this to department, right? So it all depends how you want to show this, create these kind of visuals. Now, one more thing is, if you feel this visual is not perfect for this kind of analysis, you just need to toggle from each and every visual, and you can work. Like if you click here, it will show like this. So HR, R&D, back office. Now it is like my column, right? If I want to go for, let's say, line chart, I clicked on line chart, but this is not making much sense. So I should not use line chart in this concept, right? So it depends how you want to work. Ribbon chart, it is showing me like 4 pillars. If I use tree map, this is showing me like this. But again, the best way can be like this, or this is also not bad, right? So let's go back with this. So this is how you can play with visuals. Any questions so far? All right, so I assume you have understood so far. Let's go ahead with a couple of things in this. Now I want my total salary, total bonus, and total expense, and total overtime. These 4 things I want in my tab, right? So here I will have total salary, right? I will have total bonus here. Let's go with 2 things only for the timing, because we have limited time. Now, I want to see for HR. HR is 90,161. This is my average salary. If I click on HR, you will see the data is changing, right? So you can see from here, if I unselect again, total number of employees are 166. Out of 166, I have 22 number of employees, right? Total salary is somewhere around 2 million. Total bonus is 198K. If I unselect again, you will see total employees 166, total salary 13 million, total bonus 1.28 million. If I go for R&D, total employees are total employees are 64. Sum of salary 5 million, bonus 512K, right? So you can just select and the data will change accordingly. So this is the most important part, because we are creating dashboards where we can interact with data. So if I filter particular thing, I should get something else. So when I talked about slicer data, when I was showing in presentation. So here I can have slices. For example, I will use this slicer, right? I'll select this and drag towards right. Let's say I want departments in this, or let's say gender. I'll click here. So this will work as my filter. So right now I have male plus female here. I just want to analyze the data for male. I just click male. All the data will change only for male. If I click on female, the data changes for female, right? And then you can beautify, or you can just like the easiest way is you can just format the paint from this to this. So the same formatting will work for this as well, right? To utilize your time, right? So this is how you can use. I can have one more filter here, right? I can have department. Right. So in department, we have back office, HR, IT, R&D. If I click on HR, the data will change only for HR, it will remain. Right. So any question? So this is how we say it is interactive data.
So now this is getting a little complex here. So I was with you. I'm trying to do it in parallel with you. So till the last step I had done, but now that about the slicer data, I missed you somewhere. How did you generate the slicer male female department, etc.?
Okay. So a slicer is like a filter. So
Yes.
there are multiple ways. I'll explain you other as well. But I want to say that I want to have a slicer where it is easy for me to, toggle between multiple things. So
Mhm.
I said I'll create a slicer of a gender. So I'll
Yes.
go to visualization panel. This is my
Okay.
slicer. You can see
Okay.
this funnel part.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll
I
just
can see
click on
that.
slicer,
Mhm.
right? So this is my slicer. I am just dragging this towards here. Now,
So,
this,
acha, the slicer will work on the same data set, the same Excel with which we have started.
yeah,
So,
complete. So
so
this
before,
slicer will work on this complete dashboard.
okay. So, for introducing slicer, we don't have to select any new data, anything. So
No,
we
no,
just
no.
have to choose slicer and it will
Yes,
work. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Currently we are working on this
The
one
data. Yeah.
table,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
So,
again, if we have two tables, three tables, four tables, whatever is the data, it will work on total data. It won't work on one table. It will work on hundreds of tables. It will
okay.
depend on the relationship that you build. So this is table number one,
Hmm.
right? I will add one more table here. Let's say, click on home, get data. I have one more
Hmm.
table from this Excel itself. Let's try to add dataset 2. Right? Now you can see here, I have dataset 1, dataset 2. I can toggle between these two tables. I can see what is there in this table. Now, till the time I have built the relationship between these two tables. So right now there is no relationship between these two tables. You can see there is
Yes.
no
Hmm.
line between these two. So
Hmm.
generally, if there is a relationship, we create a line. For example, in this, I'm not sure if I can make anything. So there is no relationship as such. But for example, if I create a department with finance, for example, so I'll just
Hmm.
drag this
Hmm.
and then there will be a line created for it, right? So
Okay.
now I have one-to-many relationship between finance and department, these two tables. So, but
Okay.
this relationship is wrong, so I'm deleting it, right? So once your relationship is built, slicer, this will work on complete data set. So when we are working on Power BI, it doesn't mean that we are working on one table. When we have 10 tables, we are working on 10 tables.
Okay. So, what do you mean to say that for an organization perspective, if I say that I have one headcount and I have say one data say for employee SAT score, another data is for say employee performance ratings. So I can have all three data in Excel in one Power BI. And since there would be identifiers, the primary identifiers would be like employee ID, employee name, departments would be the same in all three data sets, so that we can have connecting lines between these three data sets and we can analyze on just one
Yes.
Power BI.
As far as we have something in common between these three tables. So, as I explained you, there is one table, employee table, which is showing the performance. One
Mhm.
table is which is showing salary. So let's do
Mhm.
it practically. This will explain help everyone.
Yes, yes.
So I have employee details table, right? Employee performance table. We have two tables. Let's create this employee ID 1001, 1002, 1003. We have three employees, name, three names, department, HR, R&D, and sales, right? Yes, salary as 1000. So this is my table number one,
Okay.
right? Employee performance is, just copy this. For these names, for performance column. So we say out of five, he got a
Say
rating of four.
3, 4, 2, 5.
This guy got a rating of three. This guy got a rating of two, right? So we have these two different tables, right? Now let me just save it as PC. Or yeah, right. Now so this is my new Power BI space, right? So let's forget about the previous one. Now I'm opening the new files, this one. Right? So I'm adding these two tables. Click load. So we can import multiple tables at a time. There is no issue in that. So as you would see, in this employee ID would be common. It will be unique, right? So we can map these two tables. See now, employee performance and employee details. We have two tables,
Mhm.
right? So now it is mapped on employee ID. As you can see,
Yes,
there is a relation.
yes, yes.
Now this is many to many because it is matching three records here, three records here. So it is many to many. 1001 is mapped with 1001. 1002 is mapped with 1002. 1003 is mapped with 1003. That's it. So it is many to many. Now if I go to data view, I have employee details table. I have employee performance table. These two tables are there, right? Now I can use slicer from any, so I'll take employee ID from any table. It will work for both, right? So for example, In this, I add a table, right? And from employee details, I take salary. Now, if I change the employee code, the salary changed, right? But why? Because salary is coming from this table. You can see this is marked, this is highlighted, right? And this visual is coming from employee performance table. Still, I can see if I'm changing this, it is changing. Both tables are interacting with each other. Is everyone following what I'm saying? Or is anyone confused, whatever is there? Because uh, I feel I'm not getting the response. So maybe you are understanding or you are confused.
No, we are getting.
No, I'm
Okay.
okay. I'm
I
with
am
you.
fine. Yeah,
I'm
I
with you
think
here.
I need a practice because I'm understanding, but without practicing or without doing it, actually won't be able to do it confidently.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it is great
Same.
to, yeah. So it is good to just have basic understanding, and then once you have that basic understanding, then you can practice easily. So basically, we have two tables. All I'm saying is, if we have relationship between these two, then it will work. Let's say if I delete this relationship between these two tables, right? Now, now if I change this, will it work?
But how can you delete the relationship? Because these two tables essentially have the same employee ID, employee name, etc. So uh, the
This,
relationship is there
this
already.
this that employee IDs are same and everything, but computer doesn't know. You have to educate Power BI. So
Okay,
Power BI does not know employee ID here is equal to employee ID here. How he will get to know that these two are equal? You have to tell in these two tables, this employee ID is equal to this employee ID. Then we have to create a relationship, and then we can work on creating the tables.
okay. How can we connect now manually? We are seeing these two tables on the screen now.
Yes. So
So how can
one
we,
is
yeah,
one is
employee?
drag this employee ID on employee ID, right? It will create
Mhm.
like this.
Okay, okay.
Another option is
Manage
click on
relationship. Okay.
manage relationships,
Mhm.
click new, right? And then you can select this table, and here employee ID, one-on-one cardinality and cross filter is both. Click OK and it will be created. Another way is auto detect. If you click auto detect, sometimes Power BI can detect. So like this, found
On
new
one new
relation.
relationship. Because the data is
Yes.
small and it
And
is very easy to find.
yes, so Power BI does this. It is intelligent, of course, but you have to educate it. But generally, with my experience, I have seen auto detect should not be done. You should always create relationship yourself, because sometimes employee ID and employee ID, you don't need to connect. You have to connect with something else. So this will come up with experience, with the practice. I mean, this is all about practice. So I heard, I remember this phrase 5 years back when I was learning data analytics. So one of my professor told me that it is like swimming. So you can watch thousands of videos of swimming, how to do breaststroke, how you do front, backstroke, freestyle, until and unless you do it yourself, you can never learn swimming. Same with driving. So ultimately, it is all about practice. It is good to watch some videos of swimming, how people are doing the angle or of all the hand movement, leg movement. It is good to know, but till the time you are in water and you are doing it yourself, then only you will learn. So for sure, practice is the most important thing. But yes, it is somewhere we are starting, right? So coming back to our previous dashboard, this is where we were, right? One more thing is, so you can see here, if I click on mail, the values are changing. So there is one more feature here. If I want to change the interaction, for example, if I click on mail, this graph is changing, but I don't want these four data cards to change if I filter this, right? Currently, if I change here, everything will change, right? But I want to
Yes.
select what to change. So this is also a possibility. So if I click here, this filter, now go to format, click on edit interactions. So this will click on show interactions. So right now, this visual is interacted with this, this, and this. So you can see this is filtering this. I'm saying if I'm selecting gender, it should only filter this particular graph and not these four data cards. So what I'll do is I'll click block for all these four data cards and then go back. Now, if I click on female or male, you can see these four data cards are not changing. You're getting me?
Yes, yes, but too much of
Yes.
Right?
information.
So this is helpful in what sense? For example, you have four or five data sets or data cards, you want it forever. For example, 2023 total number of employees. So if I click on HR, total number of employees will change. So, but if you want one more layer where you want total employees, so you want to see total employees as 166, but when you selected HR, there is one more data card which is showing total number of employees as 22. So this will give you the top level as well as the filtered level. So in that case, you would love to have interactions. So this is where this interaction feature is useful, right? Is it too heavy? I'm not able to understand or
Not very
uh,
heavy, Atikant. My take is that it is, I mean, it is as good as Excel. Since we have practiced too much on Excel, we know it,
yes.
and we have to practice this also. And there are too many information which are, which you have just shared with us. So probably
Yeah.
with practice, with we would be able to
Yes,
work
absolutely.
on it.
Because ultimately it's about practice, and I can guarantee once you start working on Power BI, you will understand it is not that challenging because you have already worked on Excel. Power BI is again a product of Microsoft. So the interface, user interface, you would say, or the learning curve is really easy. Or if you work on Tableau, the learning curve is really hard. So Power BI is a fairly comparatively easier way, but this is just a tip of iceberg because we have not been into creating measures. So, for example, if you have to create a measure of, let's say, I'll go back to dataset one. All right, so I want to create a measure that will give me the total salary and bonus as well. So, so if you want to have HR wise total salary plus bonus. Right now, I'm getting only salary, so I'm just changing it to, let's say, sum of salary here. So now I have salary, right? But I want salary plus bonus. I want total level. So what I can do is for that, I need one more calculation. So I have to create a measure which will calculate salary plus bonus. So for that, I'll just go here right hand side and click new measure, right? Or from here, top hand side, click new measure, right? So here I can calculate a measure. So here, let's say the calculation would be salary plus bonus. Yeah, total salary, we can say. Total salary is equal to, I want to calculate my salary. Salary would be sum of Salary is in data set one, right? I'll select this, right? Plus simple, like I'm adding these two things, plus sum of data set one bonus. I'll select this, bracket close, and again bracket close to end this function. So now I have created this total salary. So if I drag this, let's say I create one more card, right? I remove this bonus. This is my total salary. So whenever you see calculator kind of a symbol, that is my measure, right? Now I will drag it over here. So this is my total salary. So you can see salary plus bonus. You can see this is equal to 14.1, 13 plus 1.28. All right, so some values are missing. Okay. Yeah, this is missing because interactions are changed, right? So anyway, salary plus bonus will be equal to total salary because we have done this calculation here, right?
Okay.
And this formula, this calculation is my DAX. DAX is a language that is understood by Power BI. So basically, I'll just show you a documentation which is really good. Power BI DAX. So it is data analysis expression reference, right? So whatever you would like to learn, you can just click here and try to learn all those things. It is a really, really good thing. I mean, good stuff. But basics are like start with my approach would be go on YouTube, like whichever language you are more comfortable in, Hindi or English, go for those kind of videos. Say, learn Power BI for beginners, right? It will be 1 hour course or 2 hour course, 5 hours course, depending on your interest and your style. Go for the language and the total number of hours, and then you will understand how to work. The more you see and the more you practice, that will really, really help on that, right? So this is the way we have to work. Ultimately, I'll show you what kind of dashboards are created on this, and those are not tough.
Atikant, one question here.
Yes.
We have prepared our report here, but if I want to share with our stakeholders, then how I will share? Because if I will share this dashboard link, that they can access my data source as well. But I don't want to share that data source. Only want to share this visualizations that they can interact with the all the filters and slices, but they cannot see my data source, like my table and relations
Hmm.
between the tables. So
For
is there?
for that you need license.
No, we have license. Suppose that we have license, but
Perfect.
how?
So I'll explain you. So what you have to do is I cannot do it myself because I don't have the login right now. So what
Okay.
you have to do is you just write the email whatever you have the license with, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
From here, this is the publish button. Once you have
Okay.
created the report, you click on
Mm-hmm,
publish,
mm-hmm.
right? And then you will be asked which workspace you would like to add in it. For
Okay.
example, let me just go to app. Or, yeah, um, so this is the Power BI cloud where your dashboards will be, published.
Okay.
Let me just log in with my account. Yes, I think I won't be able to go right now because I have not added this authenticator app. So generally, what happens is once you log in, this authenticator app is number code is required, which
Mhm.
you have to install. Like for example, there will be Microsoft Authenticator app. You have to
Mhm.
install on your phone, and then you have to show this or match this number so that it can approve and you can log into the system. So I have not
Manish,
logged in. Come again?
uh, sorry to get. So Manish, too, we have the license for this portal. So can you do it parallelly so that we can check whether we can
So,
able to publish
so
this
if you
report?
can share your screen, I can
Hmm.
explain you.
Just give me a minute. Let me do it.
Yeah, let's say we have these two data cards itself. We don't need to have more. Just publish.
Okay. Now I have start publishing. Save. Okay. Now
Yeah, click select. Click on
select.
select.
Now got it.
You can just click on open test.pbx in Power BI. Yeah, it will redirect
This.
to the link. Yeah.
Mhm.
I just check Manish. Also, we can download export file in PPT format as well as.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
It is very useful if we can use those features. Yes. So now click
Mhm.
on export or share so you can use both. Click
If
on
I
export.
want to share
Yeah, you can share with any person. You can add that employee name.
Sunil and send this one.
Yeah, so this report will be sent with shared with that person. Yes.
Sunil, can you
Yes,
please
sir.
check on your screen that are you able to access the data source as well, or you are able to see only these two
Just a minute.
report? And here we export what we can do. We can publish in
You can just go to PowerPoint and embed as a live data. So
this
this will
one.
help you. No, not
Okay,
as
this
an
one,
image.
this one.
Yes, yes.
Just a minute. Let me show what actually I can see. Let me
Open
share.
in PowerPoint.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, you can open that.
I've gotten message from you, Manish and team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you try to open that, you will be able to see that Power BI
Just a minute.
dashboard.
Let me share my screen.
Yes, I'm stopping. Stop sharing.
So can you see my screen?
Yes.
So here I got a message from your side, like Manish, test with you. Here
Mm-hmm.
is the data. Only I can see count of gender,
I
sum of
think I
overview.
think I think your screen is frozen.
Hello,
Your
let me
screen is
share.
frozen. Share it again.
Let me share. Let me share again. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
So here there is your option to download this file.
But this is
Download.
something different.
This I think
This
only just receive these things. Only two.
this is the
So
previous one, I think.
Aniket, can we download this file or because only just got this message from Manish.
Yeah, you can download this particular file, ABC.
ABC is a separate thing. So ABC I just create. Okay. So
So what do you want to
this
download?
is I just got Manish send me the file now.
So
Yeah,
where
you
is that
can.
link?
So first is you must have received on your email ID. That is one.
Email. I just got a message on team only. So let me check in case I receive. Open this report.
Or you
I
open your.
think your
This is your
screen
Power
is
BI.
again. This is your
Mhm.
screen is again frozen, I think.
So
Okay. Just a minute.
click on My Workspaces. You will definitely have that PBX, whatever he has shared with
No,
you.
I just got email as well as under the email. Again, I just got download this report. Once I click on that link.
No, there will be
So,
link also. Can you show the email
haha.
if possible?
Yes. Just a minute. Again, let me share my
Share
screen
your
with you.
screen again, Sunil.
Just a minute. Entire screen.
Share your entire screen.
Entire, I'm click on entire.
Sunil, click on that link which you have received over the email. Open this report.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So now you have this report.
Okay. S-
Click
So
on
is
File.
there click on file, Sunil?
Yes. So even if you download this, so you're not getting the PBIX. That means you're not getting the source. So whenever you're sharing these kind of reports or dashboards with your team members,
Mm-hmm.
the team member won't be able to access the source,
Okay.
Okay.
right? And click on File again. Go back. Yeah. If you click on Embed Report, yeah. So if you want to embed this on your portal or website or PowerPoint also, you can click there, website or portal. Yes. So this is the link. If you add this on PowerPoint, this will also be interactive. The way you have already opened PowerPoint through
Mm-hmm.
that, so it will work seamlessly. And then you can just save this PowerPoint and share with your stakeholders or anyone you would like to share with. He or she would be able to interact with those graphs, whatever you have created. So it will be very seamless. It will be.
Okay. Quickly, one more question. Just if I want to get the cumulative head count that we have discussed about the measures, I want one more measure that is for accumulative head count for last
Hmm.
3 months. That it is how it will be
Cumulative in what sense? Like
like
cum
January, February, March. If I want to, whenever I click on March, then it shows the cumulative average head count for January, February, March. And when I put this average head count in a line graph month by month, so whenever the March says always says like January, February, March average. Whenever I look at the April, that it shows February, March, and April average. Whenever it says
hmm.
May, then it means March, April, and May average head count.
Perfect. It's a great question because this is a very used uh, functionality in Power BI. So I'm glad you asked for this question. So in general, we can work on last 3 month average, L3M we call this.
Yes.
So So for example, I'll just share my screen, but this will be slightly advanced because in this we would need DAX calculations as well. So for example, if I click right, can you see my screen?
Yes,
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 we can.
clear.
Calculation in Power BI. So here, if I am selecting particular month, so previous 3 months should show me like June, July, August, and for that average. So this is one, right? So these are the things which we are working on. This is called DAX calculations. This formula, the way we created in Power BI, this calculation, total salary. So this was the easiest, very simple example, I would say, right? This is the complex version where we are defining the variable selected date, current date, and then we are returning this formula, right? Similarly, there will be various other functions. So it depends what you want to do. In last 3 months, I can share the calculation with you, but explaining this will be a longer session,
Okay.
right? But you understood what I'm
Actually,
saying because, yeah.
Actually, I have tried, but whenever I'm putting this data in a graph, then it is showing the percentage, but it is not accumulative whenever I'm putting this, like in this graph, June 2020, 2017. It means
Hmm.
whenever I'm looking at this data, June 2017, it means that last 3 months, it means May, April, and March. Sorry, May and April and June. Last
Hmm.
3 months average headcount should be in reflect in June. In
Hmm.
July, it should be May, June, and July.
In this, see, the basic
But
logic would be, I understood your point. In June, you have to add the previous month and then
mhm,
previous to previous month, right?
yes,
So that will be like current month plus previous month plus previous
Previous.
to.
previous to
That
So
is
previous.
in this,
rolling, you can say,
yes,
rolling 12
exactly.
month data is there.
Yes,
Yes,
yes. So this is the rolling concept only. So in
yes,
this simplest layman term, I would say calculate the head count of current month plus
mhm,
head count of current month minus one. So whenever I'm saying current month, it will take June. June minus
okay,
one will be the previous month, that is May. So
mhm,
whatever is the total employees in May, it will come that plus
mhm,
total number of employees in current month minus two. So
okay,
that way you will get current month employees, let's say 10, plus previous month, let's say 12, previous to previous one, let's say 11. So it will be 10 plus 12 plus 11, that will be 33.
right,
Right. So this is
okay.
how it will go ahead.
Let me
Right.
try.
So yeah, you can.
Mm. So Manish, just prepare a query. Okay, so we can drop a mail to Aniket sir. So in case Aniket sir
Yeah,
help
yeah,
with the
definitely.
formula and other things now to create these roles.
Definitely. And if you have data coming from SQL, so you can use SQL Server. So you have multiple options of getting the data from, right? You just need to type in the server from where I'm getting the database and then import. And there are two connectivity modes. There is one is import and direct query. So currently what we were doing is this is import. So dataset one, dataset two, generally it is import. In import, we are having all the data in Power BI. So like you have this data, it is stored in Power BI. This is inside Power BI. But in direct query, there is a live connection, but data won't be here, but it will be just connected. So what is the benefit of direct query? Benefit is the file size of Power BI will be small. So in case you have huge data, so it will go in GBs. So in that case, we will always work on direct query. But
Okay.
anyways, you don't need to
Is
worry on that.
is that possible that we can run a direct query in Excel as well? We create a power pivot, sorry, power query in Excel, and we create a table. After that, we export that query in Excel, and that file is saved. Now, if we want to create a direct connection between Power BI and that query, whatever we have export in Excel, is it possible, or is
So,
it only basic? Yeah.
no, so what is the source? You're saying source will be Excel.
Yes.
So you're saying Excel, the way we have done from Excel to Power BI now, it is direct. Instead of, sorry, it is import. Instead of this, you're saying direct. So data
Yes.
is coming from Excel, but it is not showing here.
Yes.
Okay. I need to check because generally it is not required because whenever the data is coming from Excel, it is very small. So we generally
Mhm.
do it like import, but definitely the provision will be there for import for direct query as well. I need to check that, but it is not required.
The reason is this.
Yeah.
For example, I have
Hmm.
prepared one of my report in Power Query somewhere in my office workplace.
Power
So
query
I
or
Power Query,
Excel or
no, Excel Power Query,
okay.
Excel in Power Query. What I have done, I have pick the reports from the folder and combine these all the reports
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
extract in a table through Power Query,
Hmm.
right? So if I create the same thing in Power BI as well, export the data in Power BI, and after that, this will start working on it. So I will have to be refresh my Power Query first, and after that, I will have to be refresh my Power BI dashboard. If it will be direct link with that my Power Query, then whenever I will refresh my Power Query, that Power BI dashboard will automatically refresh.
I think it won't work this way.
Okay.
because generally these features are for those requirements wherever it is generally required. This is an exception. You're saying you're working on Power Query in Excel and now you want that data in Power BI. So it's like doing one thing in two steps. So I would say uh, if you can work on Power Query in Power BI itself,
Mm-hmm.
then there is no point of working on Excel in like for Power Query purpose, because you're
Okay.
doing step one Power Query in Excel and then step two is importing. Better to import in Power BI and do everything in Power BI.
Okay.
Yes. So anyone else who is having a query regarding Power BI, how to study this, how to work on this, like what, any simple question, tough question, any doubt, how to proceed further? Is it really helpful for you? Will this impact your salaries or not? Or how is the requirement of these things in India, outside India? So like anything, like if you have any
Yeah.
question.
So that part is very interesting. Will this impact our salaries, and how does it, in India and outside India? How do you think? What is the kind of the job market
Correct.
in terms of HR
So,
analytics and Power BI?
so Manish, basically, when you are asking this question, so you are from HR?
Yes. I'm from HR. I take care of HR operations, comp and benefit, a little bit of analytics. So that
Hmm.
is my domain. So I want to grow more in terms of analytics and dashboards, etc.
Right. So now that you have domain expertise, right? So every company wants people who are experienced in domain plus technical expertise is also there. So now you already have basic understanding of how HR works, HR XYZ things that you know. Uh,
Yes.
Knowing analytics will definitely help you in what? Whenever you apply for the companies, they now look only for people who have these kind of skill sets, because everything is going online. Later on, everyone is working on cloud. your data is becoming huge. So definitely there are HR analytics tools as well, so you have to work there. So you have to show your competency in terms of technical skills. And then if you have to work on reporting in your HR department itself, if you know, then you don't have to go to some other team. You don't have to ask MIS guys or MIS team or any other team who works on dashboards in your company, that if we have to create this, make this for us, right? And then there are weekly monthly meetings with your HR heads, like how to show the report. You prepare it. It will be so useful if you are preparing on dashboard, Power BI dashboard, and showing them that this is what my findings are, this is how it is working, and it is how we should go ahead. This will help in attrition, controlling that. It will help in improving the performance of employees. So show them, because uh, everything is not gut based, everything is data based. Right now all the people, they work on data. So if you can prove anything which is wrong on the basis of data, they will accept it, because everyone follows data nowadays, in India, outside India. And if you're learning Power BI, not basics, if you're learning in depth, if you know a lot about Power BI, there are so many jobs for Power BI developers itself. So in
Of course.
India, outside India, like people pay a lot for Power BI developers, Tableau, because each and every company has a lot of data today. If we compare it with 10 years back, they had less data, and going forward, the data will be even more, right? So working with data will remain, but yes, we have to be very, smart enough to work efficiently with the advent of AI tools. So you should know how to use AI tools so that you can learn faster.